Layla, and welcome to my weekly video messages. For those of you who have been following the series on Starseeds, walk-ins, and Lightworkers, and today, we're going to be talking about advanced training. So if you've made it through basic and you made it through intermediate, congratulations. Now you're getting ready to really blast off. And the reason I say that is because this is when your guide will start explaining information about other realities. It's pretty crazy. I remember when I went through it, it's like, you're having to keep a foot in two worlds, actually multiple worlds at the same time, and it is nutty. I used to get to the point where I was doing like weekly sanity checks. Okay, is this really happening? Am I still the same person? Am I still sane? Because every belief system that you have, that you hold dear about reality, just seems to get shattered one after another. Because the further you go outside the box, the wilder it gets. And then you realize there's they say that there's that 90% of reality that we don't see and the 10% that we see. Well, when you get into that 90%, it is crazy. Okay, so let's talk about what's involved in advanced training. Number one is that this is usually when your guides will decloak. If they've appeared as just spiritual masters or ascended masters, whatever, usually when they believe that that you can handle knowing who they really are, they will decloak. Mine decloaked as beings who lived in another reality, who were in a physical life at that time. They were existing and they could just communicate interdimensionally. It was just kind of wild. And I talk about that in the book, The Mission Remembered. In fact, I'm going to be referring to that book over and over again because it is the best training manual for a mission, because it gives you a full story of what a mission is like, the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs. It's awesome. Now I understand why the Nibiruans had me write it and rewrite it at least 5 times until I got it the way they wanted. The second one is that you will start going through recoding of your DNA. Okay, let me back up. Maybe not recoding. You're going to be dealing with your DNA. They're going to encourage you to do something involving your DNA, and that could be for many people who are not ready for a full-blown process, because it'll cause you to have, if you go too fast, it'll cause you to have all kinds of health issues. But and even the ones that aren't the full-blown process can cause you to have health challenges. But many starseeds, because they are not from a species that is of human origin and or does not have a fully developed emotional body like the human form here on Earth does, they will go through what I call booster programs. And these booster programs, they'll be guided to for either DNA activation, realignment, or connection, one of the 3. And the reason that they're guided to those is because A, their species is giving that information to the planet, and so they've already chosen one individual to share that, like the teachers who are out there teaching about DNA reconnection, or those who are doing just strictly activation, or those doing just simply alignment. And you will be guided based on your genetics to the program that will work well for you. And you might go through several of those before you are ready for a full-blown process. So each one of those enables you to kind of gently wade into the deep, deep emotional clearing that has to occur to alter DNA. And what I mean by alter DNA is to recompile the 10 dormant strands, which involves realigning them, reconnecting at the crown, and plugging them in, which is reconnection, and turning on the juice, which is activation. That will require activating the thymus at the multidimensional level. Now, why would I say that? Because the people who disconnected your strands gave me the information. They said, we promised we would give you back the ability to recompile your DNA when you'd reached a certain level of spiritual maturity to handle that kind of power. And they've given that to us in the DNA recoding process, and the thing that activates the thymus is called the Formula of Compassion, which you can find for free on my website. Okay, look under Ascension Tools. Now, the next one is once you've entered DNA recoding, this is, or DNA, whatever you're going to be doing, that's going to be clearing the static on your channel, so to speak, which will enable you to begin to access. It's like you got an antenna going up, and connecting into higher dimensions, into each one of those grids and tapping into those records. Well, the more you clear, the more you it's sort of like eliminating static from your channel. So you're going to be, many times your guides will begin to show you in the dream state, or if you were like me, you had to sit through 1 hour, 1 o'clock a.m. trainings, where they begin to take you into past timelines or future timelines, where you can look at events that will occur or have occurred. And of course it requires emotion to be able to find that point. I now learned that timeline traveling, which is what I'm talking about, is the same as remote viewing, which the government does. So that was pretty interesting. So many of you will go through that, some of you won't. It depends on your mission. If you need it, you'll learn it. The next one is, this is fun. All this time you're going through, DNA changes, but at some point you're going to, when they've given you enough knowledge, when you've learned enough, knowledge is power and you got to be responsible for it. You're going to have to make a decision about aligning with your mission in regards to your career. If that is what you're supposed to be doing. If you're supposed to be doing a mission that involves a full-time spiritual career. Some of you will not do that. Some of you will stay in the business world. But for those who are to step out of the business sector and into their own business, this is when you will have to realign during advanced training. And this means walking away from whatever you're doing. Now, I have learned that if that is to be the case, there's a plan already in place for you. And you just have to be willing to let go of any limiting belief that you have that could cause you to stay there. For me, I had my own business, but I couldn't walk away from it because I believed all my 250 clients needed me, and there was no one else who could take care of them as good as I could, because I ran business networks, breakfast clubs for small business owners. And what I didn't realize is that, okay, they may not there might not be anybody who could take care of them as well as I could, but maybe they could take care of them differently, or let's just say the same as I did, but they could do it just as well in a different way. And I had already hired someone, had trained them to do the same thing I had. I just had to see that they could do it and be willing to let go and let them do it. So once I made that decision, within 60 days or 45 days, I had walked away from my business with a buyout. And I was on my way to being a counselor, which is what I wanted to do, which is part of my mission at that time. So the final thing is you're going to go through a lesson in leadership. And what this means is that even though, my dog's over here making noise, come over here, Gracie. Even though you have built a really strong relationship with your guides by this time, because they've shown you things, they've proven things to you in ways that you can't possibly deny. And so trust is built up. But at the same time, there's a tendency for a codependent relationship where you begin to call on them for everything. And they're okay with that. In the beginning, they'll kind of micromanage you. But after a while, they want to step back and let you learn to make decisions on your own. And once you get toward the end of advanced training, you have to start making more decisions on your own. And not only that, you need to give them input, because they have to adjust their plans based on what's going on now, and they can't see in our dimension like as clearly as we do, and they need input from us. So if we're always asking them for what to do, we're not giving them the assistance they need for our missions. So you will be taken through what I call a dark night of the soul, where you will have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. And sometimes that will involve losing faith in them. It may appear that they abandoned you or betrayed you. All this will have been prearranged, because, and it will be, and the severity of it will be determined by how codependent you've become. So the days of asking them, what should I eat, or which way should I go, or should I buy this, or should I buy that, have got to end. You've got to start making your own decisions and learn to be a good, strong, equal team player to them, which is what they desperately need. I mean, after all, they spend all this time working with you. So that's it. Once you get through that, if you clear that one and don't go running in the opposite direction and throw it all away, you will advance to the next step, which they'll prepare you. You'll go into what I call pre-launch mode, and that'll be pre-launch, where they Well, I'll talk about that in the next video, which will be the final and the 9th installment in this series. We'll be talking about pre-launch. And so that'll be pretty exciting. In the meantime, take care, hang in there, keep going, and I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.